We want to bring in Democratic Congressman, Ivy League alumni, Congressman Josh Gottheimer right now. Congressman, I know you've been seeing what's going to be going on and you've been noticing what's been happening on college campuses over the last 6 or 7 weeks. Your thoughts about this takedown in UCLA?
Well, I think number one priority for everyone should be to make sure that law enforcement and the students are safe. And that's the key to me, to make sure everyone is safe on campus, and also to make sure our campuses can, for all the students who are not participating in this, to make sure it's safe, not just for them, but also they can go to class, they can graduate, they can go to the
they're
library.
off today. From what you're seeing now, though, from what you're seeing now, are you outraged that any type of major university would allow this to get to that point?
Well, I mean, I was at Columbia a week ago. I've been watching what's going on at all these universities. I think, of course, we should all be outraged about what's going on and deeply concerned. I mean, and I think it's why we fought so hard and we're proud of yesterday passing key bipartisan legislation, clearly defining anti-Semitism, ensuring that you can't have anyone on campus feel like they are not welcome there, and being harassed and intimidated. And I think that's a critical part of this. But at the end of the day, there is a way to have civil discourse on campus and debate issues. This is clearly not the way to do that.
And I'm glad you mentioned that you are the co-sponsor of the anti-Semitic bill, anti-Semitism bill, which passed in the House yesterday. It's got an uncertain future in the Senate as it progresses. But, you know, as you look at, we know that, you know, so who, I know whose side you're on. You know whose side we're on when it comes to these protesters and the anti-Semitism that is sweeping the nation. But, you know, there's a large group of House Democrats who don't see the protest as anti-Semitic, and some of your younger, more progressive Democratic colleagues actually back the protest. When they attack the cops, it's hard to do that.
Well, obviously, no one should attack law enforcement, and we can't stand idly by. And what we're seeing, these images are deeply disturbing, you know, and as it was deeply disturbing, and I've seen, you know, the videos, I'm sure you have, people calling for the deaths of Jews and screaming, supporting Hamas. We're all Hamas. All of that is something that I just can't believe is happening on our college campuses. So there were people yesterday, by the way, it lost to people, Democrats and Republicans, who I was shocked voted against the anti-Semitism bill yesterday. The bottom line is,
why did they do that, Scott? Why did they do that?
Like Nadler?
Why did they vote against it?
You know, there were questions about commas and definitions, and I don't think that there was any question about that legislation of what it meant, which was that we should of course be able to criticize. You should of course protect free speech in this great country, but there's a huge difference between harassing and intimidating and discrimination, which shouldn't be allowed on our college campuses against anyone. And I think and hate shouldn't be allowed on our college campuses. There's a difference again between civil discourse and debate, which we should encourage on our college campuses, even when we don't agree, and what you're seeing now going on.
So, Congressman, I have to ask you guys just accomplished bipartisan legislation.
Good job.
And we're watching, not just here at UCLA, but scenes like this happening on college campuses all across the country. You got our Jewish brothers and sisters that feel like they're under attack. You got the FBI saying that 60% of the hate crimes are against that community. Don't you think it's time that we hear from President Biden an address to the country? You have the FBI, the NYPD counterterrorism said that our students are being radicalized by outside factors. Why haven't we heard from our commander-in-chief on this matter?
Well, I believe the president is speaking this coming week. He's going to the Holocaust Museum. By the way, where I was last night, we led a group of tour with Democrats and Republicans, which I think punctuated the importance of the legislation yesterday. So I think the White House has been pretty clear, and the president has been pretty clear about his outrage here.
But not a statement, Congressman. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, Congressman.
May 7th?
But what about not just something that is on a sheet of paper and through his aides, but addressing the country right now? I mean, we can't wait until, you know, that event. We have outrage happening right now.
You know, listen, he's obviously, I believe, going to have a very important speech this coming week. And I expect that, given what's going on, you'll hear from him even sooner. And I think we need to hear from every leader in our country right now about about standing up to hate and discrimination, to make it very clear that this is not acceptable. And there's a way to there's a way to disagree.
So should you say that to the squad? Should you say that to the squad privately, that you're on the wrong side of this and it's not it's against Jews and against Americans?
Well, I've not been private. I've been pretty public about my outrage overall and my deep concern about what's going on, not just on college campuses, but overall the way people are talking about, frankly, hate toward anyone.
Sure.
And I think, again, that should be our message, that discrimination on college campuses is unacceptable. Hate of this kind and targeted hate's unacceptable. And that, again, there is a way to disagree on college campuses and debate issues. This is not how you handle things. You don't scream and harass and punch other kids and scream for Zionists to die. That is not the way we should handle it in this country and on college campuses.
Scott, you were talking about leaders. We did hear from former President Trump. He just had a Truth Social post about it. Also, we heard from Speaker Mike Johnson, the Republican Speaker of the House. A couple of days ago, he announced a house-wide investigation into anti-Semitism on campus, and he was surrounded at that press event by Republicans. Will there be Democrats like you who would also join the speaker on the investigation into anti-Semitism at places like UCLA and your alma mater, Harvard and UPenn?
I've been looking at this for months, and actually speaking out on this for years. I've made it clear to the speaker that what he's doing, this initiative here, is important. You heard from our leader, Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader, speak out clearly against what's going on. He did it yesterday again, against what's going on college campuses and against anti-Semitism. He's been very clear. The leadership in our party yesterday came out strong supporting the legislation. So I don't think there's any daylight here between my views and our leadership's views on what we need to do.
Congressman,
and I think this should again be bipartisan. There should be nothing partisan about standing up to anti-Semitism.
That is true, and you've been in the lead, and you deserve tremendous credit for that, but that comes instinctively for you. Which surprised me, and you know him better, is Chuck Schumer, the highest-ranking Jewish American in the history of our country, has said one thing at Columbia when they took over the building, but for the most part, you can't hear a word. You don't hear a word from him. This guy never saw a camera he didn't like. He talks about energy drinks nonstop or stopping Zinn, but we can't get him to speak up against anti-Semitism consistently and take the lead. That has to disappoint you.
Well, listen, I hope we hear more today and in the coming days from Leader Schumer. But again, I think we need to hear from everyone, right? I don't think there should be anybody who sits this one out. They've got to make it clear that we want our students to be safe. We want our campuses to be safe. We want our law enforcement to be safe. And we also want our schools free from discrimination, hate, and anti-Semitism. I think that's got to be the message, right? Again, you can protest. That's something that we've got a great history of in our country, even when we don't agree with each other, right? That's part of our freedoms that we have. But there's a way to do that. And right now, what you're seeing on some of these campuses is exactly the opposite of the way to do that. And other students, I spoke to Jewish students at Columbia, they don't feel safe, right? They're being harassed and discriminated against. And I want all students, whether you're Jewish or not, to be able to go to class, be able to study for exams, right? To be able to get an education and to be able to debate the way they should debate. And right now, all students in a lot of these campuses don't feel safe. And that's a huge problem for me and a huge concern.
It is indeed. All right. He is the co-sponsor of the anti-Semitism bill. He is Scott Gottheimer, Democrat from New Jersey. Josh Gottheimer. He is my congressman for my district. And we thank him very much for coming on. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.